This is Sandy, and I'm continuing with my story. I wanted to thank Andrea for her videos that she has on the Destiny website. Helped me a lot to hear her story of being possessed, to feel not as ashamed, and meant a lot to me. I wanted to say quickly, if you are a person that hears voices in your head, don't listen, don't participate. It will drive you crazy, and it will drive you to suicidal thoughts. I mentioned that I use drinking to help me cope with the voices in my head. I obviously knew that it wasn't a good thing that I was drinking too much and drinking more as time went on. So I started to go to AA meetings in my early 30s, mid 30s, on and off. I think I knew I wouldn't necessarily quit drinking, but it helped if I was feeling really frightened that day, or I was feeling really sick, hungover. And although it did help me, I still needed the alcohol. I drank alcoholically for 10 years, and I would just stay kind of on the outskirts of AA. I never joined a group or got a sponsor or anything like that. It took a few really bad things happening for me to be able to quit, which is often the case when they talk about the bottom. So a few things happened when I was in my early 40s. One thing that helped me quit eventually was I ruined my parents' 50th wedding anniversary by getting so drunk, and I blacked out. Just a side note, I used to think blacking out meant pass out, but it doesn't. It means that something in your brain turns off and you don't remember what's going on. So I blacked out, and thank goodness it was the end of their party, so the guests had gone, but the whole family was still there. And I guess people realized how drunk I was, and they wanted to take me home, and I was quite belligerent, which doesn't surprise me. And I didn't want to do this. I wanted just to go home with my children. And they were saying, no, you can't. I'll take you home. But I wouldn't cooperate, and supposedly I pushed my sister-in-law. I don't remember any of that. So my brother-in-law thought I was having a nervous breakdown and called an ambulance. And I didn't cooperate with the ambulance people. And so what they do is they call the police at that point. So I remember coming to when the police were there. I didn't know what was going on at all. I think this is probably something people don't know, and police get very aggressive. But what they didn't understand was I didn't know what was going on. All of a sudden, there was police there fighting with me. Anyway, I'm not justifying it or saying that they did anything wrong. I'm just explaining. I believe sometimes police officers, if they had just talked to me quietly, I think it might have helped me at that point. But they were trying to arrest me, and I was very confused and I was frightened. So I fought them, me and these two big police officers. Anyway, it was a bit of a little battle and quite the scene outside my sister's house. And I remember seeing some neighbors there, so not a good thing, obviously. It was terrible. I remember when I came to the next day, I was quite bruised on my arms because of the handcuffs. And I had a really bad fall on the way to their car. So my pants were all ripped and my leg was quite badly hurt. When I was really drunk, like I said, I was very belligerent, so I did this horrible screaming thing. They took me to the hospital, and I screamed and screamed. And I screamed because it was the only thing I could do. It was like a fuck you. I felt like my only power was to not cooperate. So I was quite crazy. I was crazy. My poor brother was in the other room and could hear me screaming. And so I just wouldn't cooperate out of this fuck you attitude. And so they put me in the psych ward in the hospital and locked me up for the night. And I think I screamed for another couple hours. Again, just because I felt it was my only power. It made sense to me at the time. And the next day I thought, I'm in big trouble here. I've lost my freedom. And so I thought, I just said to myself, okay, you gotta do whatever it takes to get out of here. So I talked my way out of there. Another thing that happened was so just to explain to people, often someone can't quit drinking after something terrible happens because of the remorse and guilt. It's very, very heavy, and therefore there's the downward spiral. So you're drinking because you can't stand the pain of what occurred, can't stand the pain of what occurred because of drinking. So the vicious circle. Took me another year and a half to quit drinking. So another thing that happened was I was stopped one evening. I drove my car. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning to get a sandwich. Not a very good idea. And I wasn't thinking clearly, of course. And so I was put in jail for another night. I believe at that point, it was only a few months after that, I was able to surrender, and I joined AA. That was almost 7 years ago. There was only one occurrence, one night. I took the real estate course, and I thought I failed the exam. I'd also just gotten married a few months before, and I felt devastated, and I drank some beers that night. I didn't tell anyone about this. I just wanted to continue on because I just gotten married. The man I married is also in AA. And then through my process with Destiny in this last year, I am living self-honestly. And I have come clean about that. So I changed my dry date. So it's been about 3 years and 3 months since I've had a drink. It's not difficult. It is a total surrender. It's not a fight at all. It's a relief. It was not difficult even before that not to drink. It was just that one occurrence. And it was the wrong choice, but that's okay. It's the past. I can't change the past. Another thing I wanted to mention, during these years, what I did was I made money at home by having the daycare, and I also rented rooms out and a basement out to foreign students, which paid very well. But other than that, I received childcare. Other than that, whenever I got behind, I refinanced my mortgage, and I got loans from people, especially my mother. So I really existed by mooching off people, mostly my mother. Just trying to think of anything significant in my story since then. So yeah, understandably, finding Destiny was a wonderful thing for me, a big relief to let go. Oh, during the years that I quit drinking, sorry. I still continued to write music. I still thought that these messages I received, although now I didn't listen, it was totally under control. I wasn't listening to my mind. I still would receive information, a lot of information in the evening that I listened to, because I thought it was a message from a higher power, and that I should write music. And I wrote a lot of music, a lot of just mediocre songs, some good songs. It's very expensive, so I did get some recorded, and But I have let that go now. I'd like to get back to some music later when I get other things more under control in my life. I'm grateful for the opportunity to build an income source through destiny, through something that's useful and that's best for all. I was able to relax and start to feel more stable and more like myself when I found destiny, because I understand now the information that I received during the evening and music is from my mind consciousness systems, the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious, and I'm able to understand that more now, and it's brought me a lot of peace, a lot of peace. I don't I understand now that there isn't anything from a higher power. That your mind consciousness systems will tell you you're just such a wonderful, special person, and you are unique, and so I'm able to let this go and understand I'm just me, I'm just here, and going through my processes with destiny.